The wind moved slowly across the frozen land. Cold and sharp, snow covered everything. Broken metal, dark stones, and silent machines. Nothing lived here anymore, or at least that was what most people believed. A small digital scale sat on the ground, half buried in snow. Its screen flickered again and again, fighting the cold. Then it stopped and showed one number clearly, 47.0. A man stood behind it, tall and still. His boots were deep in the snow, and his coat was covered in ice. His breath came out in slow white clouds. He looked down at the number, not moving. His face was hard, tired, and full of quiet pain. He had seen too much in his life, and this place felt no different. In his arms he held a small child. She was very light, too light. Her body rested against him like she had no strength left. Her skin was pale, almost glowing with a soft blue color. She was not human. Her eyes were closed, and her breathing was weak. Her small hands hung still, as if she had already given up. Her hair was short, light, and messy, frozen in small pieces of ice. The man adjusted his grip carefully. He held her like she was the most important thing in the world, even though he did not understand what she was. 47 pounds, he said quietly, his voice almost lost in the wind. He looked around slowly. The land was empty. Mountains of ice stood far away, like silent giants watching him. The sky above was dark blue and gray, heavy with coming storm. Far on the horizon, two suns were falling. Their soft orange light touched the snow, creating long shadows. For a moment, the world looked peaceful. But the man knew better. He had been here long enough to understand one thing. Nothing on this planet stayed peaceful for long. A low sound reached his ears. At first, it was soft, almost like the wind. But then it grew stronger, deeper. It was not coming from the sky, it was coming from the ground. The man's eyes changed, sharp and alert. His body tensed instantly. Close, he whispered. He turned slightly, scanning the frozen horizon. His hand moved slowly, ready. Then something unexpected happened. The child in his arms moved, just a little. Her fingers twitched against his jacket. The man froze. He looked down at her quickly. Her eyes were still closed, but her lips moved slightly. A weak breath escaped her. She was alive. Relief passed through his face, but only for a moment, because he knew something else. If she was alive, then they would not stop searching. His right hand began to glow. A soft blue light formed around his fingers. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat, the same color as the child's skin. He did not fully understand it yet, but he knew one thing: it was connected to her. The sound from the ground became louder. Now it was clear. Something was moving under the ice. Something big. The man stepped back from the scale. Snow cracked under his boots. He looked at the number one last time, 47.0. Such a small number. Such a small life. But somehow it felt heavier than anything he had ever carried. The child's head rested against his chest. Her weak breathing touched his neck. He tightened his hold on her. "I won't let them take you," he said quietly. The ground shook again. Far away, shapes began to rise from the snow. Dark, tall, and unnatural machines. They moved without sound, without emotion, scanning, searching, hunting. The man took a deep breath. His body was tired. His supplies were almost gone, and now the hunters had found them. But he did not run, not yet. Instead, he looked down at the child again. For the first time, her eyes slowly opened. Bright blue light filled them. Not fear, not weakness. Something else, something powerful. For a second, the man felt it. A strange connection. A flash of images in his mind. Fire, stars, destruction, and something chasing her across worlds. Then it was gone. The girl's eyes closed again. The man stood. Frozen. Now he understood. This was not just survival anymore. This was something bigger. The machines in the distance started moving faster. The hunt had begun. The man turned, holding the child close. Snow blew around him as he took his first step, then another. Then he started running. And behind him, the number on the scale still glowed in the cold, 47.0, but now it was no longer just a number. It was a reason to fight. The sound of the explosion still echoed in his mind. Even now, as he ran through the frozen land, he could not forget it. It had started with fire in the sky. Hours earlier, the man had been alone, walking across the empty ice fields, searching for anything useful, old metal, broken tech, anything he could trade or use to survive. The sky had been quiet then, cold and endless like always. Then something changed. A bright light appeared above him, fast, burning, falling from the sky. At first, he thought it was just another piece of space debris, something that would crash far away and be gone. But this was different. It was too controlled, too steady, a ship. And it was coming down hard. The man stopped walking, watching it fall. His eyes narrowed as the light grew bigger. Then the sky broke. A loud explosion filled the air as the ship hit the ground beyond the hills. Fire and smoke rose into the cold sky. The ground shook under his feet. For a moment, everything was silent again. Then the wind returned. The man did not wait. He moved quickly toward the crash site, his boots cutting deep into the snow, his body pushing forward with purpose. A crash meant danger, but it also meant opportunity. When he reached the site, the scene was chaos. The ship was large, broken into pieces. Metal was twisted and burned. Parts of it were still glowing from heat. Strange symbols covered the broken walls. Not human, not anything he had seen before. The air smelled of smoke and something else. Something sharp, almost electric. The man moved carefully, his eyes watching every shadow, his hand ready near his weapon. Most crashes meant death, and this one was no different. Bodies lay around the wreckage, but they were not human. Tall, thin shapes, covered in armor-like skin. Their forms were strange, unnatural. All of them were still. All of them were dead. The man looked at them for only a moment, then turned away. Dead bodies did not matter. Survival did. He stepped deeper into the wreckage. Something felt wrong. Too quiet, too empty. Then he heard, in a sound soft, weak, almost lost in the wind, the man stopped. He turned his head slowly, listening. There it was again. A faint cry, not from outside, from inside the wreckage. He moved quickly now, climbing over broken metal, pushing aside frozen debris. The sound grew clearer. A child. There was a child inside. He reached a collapsed section of the ship, a heavy piece of metal blocking the way. The sound came from beneath it. The man hesitated for a second. This was not his problem. This world was not kind. Helping others usually meant death. He knew that. He had learned that the hard way. The wind howled louder around him. The cry came again, weaker. This time, closer to silence. The man closed his eyes for a brief moment. Then he moved. With a deep breath, he pushed the metal aside. His muscles strained against the weight. Ice cracked as the piece shifted. Finally, it moved enough. He dropped to one knee and looked inside. At first, he saw nothing, just darkness. Then a faint blue glow appeared, soft pulsing. He reached inside slowly. And then he saw her, a small body, trapped under broken panels. Her skin pale and glowing, her eyes closed. The glow was coming from her. The man froze. She was not human, but she was alive, barely. Her breathing was weak, her body still. The man looked around quickly. No one else was alive. No one else was coming. It was just him and her for a moment. He did nothing. His mind racing. This was dangerous, unknown, not normal. He should walk away. He should leave her here. But then something happened as his hand moved closer. The blue light grew stronger. It reacted to him. The girl's small fingers moved slightly, reaching, not strong, not fully awake, but reaching toward him. The man stared at her, confused. Why him? Why now? The ship was dying. The cold was closing in. She would not survive much longer unless he made a choice. The man let out a slow breath. Fine, he said quietly. Carefully, he lifted the broken pieces away, freeing her small body. She was lighter than he expected, too light. He picked her up gently holding her close to keep her warm. The blue glow softened, almost calm now, for a moment. Everything felt still. Then a sound echoed in the distance, low, deep, not natural. The man's eyes changed instantly. Danger. He looked toward the horizon. Something was coming, something fast. He looked down at the child again. Her face was peaceful, but weak. He had just found her, and already the world was trying to take her away. The man tightened his grip. "Bad timing," he muttered. Then he turned and started moving away from the wreckage. Behind him, the broken ship creaked in the cold wind. The last light inside it flickered and died, but in his arms, a new light had begun. The cold grew stronger as the night came closer. The wind moved faster across the frozen land, carrying sharp ice through the air. The man walked carefully, his steps steady but tired. The child was still in his arms. He had wrapped her in part of his coat, trying to protect her from the freezing wind. Her body felt light, too light, like she could disappear at any moment. He looked down at her face. She still had not opened her eyes again. Her breathing was slow and weak, almost silent. "This is not going to work," he said quietly. He stopped near a broken piece of metal, part of an old structure half buried in snow. It was not much, but it gave some protection from the wind. The man moved behind it and lowered himself to one knee. Carefully, he placed the child in front of him. Still holding her close, he needed to think. He checked his supplies quickly, a small pack, almost empty. A little water, some tools, and not much else, not enough for two. He looked at the child again. She was not human. Everything about her said that clearly. Her skin had that strange soft glow. Her body felt warm, even in this cold. And the light he had seen before was still there, faint, but alive. The man leaned back slightly, his eyes narrowing. "This is trouble," he said under his breath. He had seen strange things before on this planet, but nothing like this. Something about her was different, important, dangerous. He could feel it. The wind howled louder, hitting the metal behind them. Snow began to fall harder now, covering the ground again. The man stood up slowly. "This is where we stop," he said. He looked around one last time. No movement, no sound except the wind. If he left now, he could still survive alone. He looked down at the child again. She looked so small, so weak. Not like something powerful or dangerous, just a child. The man took a step back, then another, his eyes still on her. "This is not my problem," he said quietly. He turned his back and started walking away. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Then he stopped. A strange feeling ran through his mind. Not fear, not danger, something else, something pulling him back. He frowned, confused. Then suddenly, a flash images filled his mind without warning. Fire falling from the sky, worlds burning, strange machines moving across stars, and something chasing, always chasing. The man gasped and turned around quickly. The child was glowing. Bright blue light surrounded her small body now. The snow around her was melting slightly from the heat. Her eyes opened slowly, bright blue, shining in the dark. But they were not normal eyes. They were filled with something ancient, something powerful. The man stepped back slightly. "What are you?" he whispered. The girl looked directly at him, not like a scared child, not like someone weak, but like someone who understood everything. For a moment, time felt slow. The wind, the cold, the world around them, all faded. Then the connection hit him again, stronger this time. He saw more, a war. Not on one planet, but many. Stars filled with light and destruction. Ships burning, entire worlds falling. And in the middle of it all, her not as a weak child, but as something important. Something they needed. Something they would never stop hunting. The man broke the connection suddenly, falling back slightly, his breathing heavy. "No," he said, shaking his head. "This is not real." But deep inside he knew it was real, very real. The girl's glow slowly faded. Her eyes closed again. Her body relaxed. As if nothing had happened. As if she was just a normal child again. The man stared at her for a long moment. Now he understood one thing clearly. She was not just a survivor of a crash, she was the reason for it. The reason for the hunters. The reason for everything. The wind grew louder again, bringing him back to reality. He looked around quickly. The storm was getting worse, and somewhere out there, those things were still searching. And now they would be closer. The man stood up slowly. His decision was clear now. There was no walking away anymore. Not after what he had seen. Not after what he had felt. He moved back to the child and picked her up carefully. She felt the same, like fragile. But now he knew the truth. She was far from weak. He adjusted his coat around her, holding her tighter. "You're not normal," he said quietly. Then he looked toward the dark horizon. "And neither is what's coming for you." A distant sound echoed again, low, deep, getting closer. The man's eyes hardened. "Good," he said under his breath. "Let them come." He turned and started walking into the storm. This time, he was not running away. He was preparing for a fight. The storm grew stronger with every step the man took. Snow moved wildly across the frozen land, making it hard to see. The wind howled like something alive, loud and endless. The man kept moving forward, the child held close against his chest. Protected inside his coat, her body was still weak, her breathing soft and uneven. But now he knew the truth. She was not helpless. She was the reason everything was coming for them. A sharp sound cut through the storm. Not natural, not wind. The man stopped instantly. His eyes narrowed as he listened carefully. There it was again, a faint mechanical pulse, like something scanning the air. "They found us," he said quietly. He turned slowly, looking behind him. At first he saw nothing, just snow and darkness. Then shapes began to appear, tall, thin, moving without sound machines. They stepped out of the storm like shadows, their bodies dark and smooth, with no clear face. Faint red lights moved across them, scanning everything. The man's grip tightened around the child. He stepped back slowly, one step at a time. The machines stopped at a distance, watching, calculating. Then one of them raised its arm. A soft beam of light moved across the ground, scanning the snow, the air, everything. The beam passed over the man for a moment. Nothing happened. Then suddenly, the child's body reacted. A faint blue glow escaped through the man's coat. The machine froze. Its red lights turned brighter. Target found. The man cursed under his breath. "Of course," he muttered. The machines began moving again, faster this time. No hesitation, no fear, just purpose. The man turned and started running. Snow pushed against him as he moved, his boots slipping slightly. On the ice, the child remained still in his arms, but the glow was getting stronger. He could feel it, like a pulse against his chest. The machines followed, silent, fast, closing the distance quickly. The man looked ahead. Through the storm, he saw something. Broken structure, half buried in ice, old, but strong enough to hide inside. He pushed himself harder, ignoring the cold, ignoring the pain in his legs. Behind him, the machines moved like ghosts, never slowing down, never stopping. The man reached the structure and rushed inside. The wind became quieter for a moment. Darkness surrounded him. He moved deeper in, finding a corner behind broken walls. Carefully, he placed the child down. She was glowing more now, her small body surrounded by soft blue light. "Not good," he said quietly. He looked around quickly. The place was old, metal walls, broken panels, frozen wires, but something caught his eye, near the floor, half covered in ice. The same digital scale he had seen before. He stepped closer and cleared the snow from it. The screen flickered, then turned on 47.0. The man stared at it. Same number, same exact number. Even now he looked back at the child, then at the scale again. "That's not normal," he whispered. The ground outside shook slightly. The machines were close now, very close. The man stood up quickly, his mind racing. He needed a plan. He looked at his hand. The same blue energy from before began to form again, soft at first, then stronger. The same light as the child, the same power. He clenched his fist slowly. "All right," he said quietly. "If they want her." The sound of metal moving came from outside, slow, careful. The hunters were entering. The man stepped forward, standing between the entrance and the child, his body tense, ready. The first machine appeared in the doorway. Tall and silent, its red light scanning the dark interior. Then it saw him. It paused for only a second, then raised its arm. A weapon began to form. A low energy sound filled the air. The man did not move back. Instead, he stepped forward, his hand glowing brighter now. Blue light cutting through the darkness. "Come on," he said quietly. The machine fired. A sharp beam of energy shot toward him, fast, deadly, but the man moved. He raised his glowing hand. The blue light reacted instantly. The beam hit it and stopped for a second. Everything froze, energy pushing against energy. Then it exploded outward, throwing snow and metal across the room. The machine stepped back, recalculating. The man stood firm, breathing heavy, but still standing behind him. The child's glow grew stronger. The entire room filled with blue light. The machines outside began to move faster, more of them coming closer. The hunt was no longer quiet. It had begun. The man took a step forward, his eyes locked on the machines. His voice low and steady. "You're not taking her." The storm outside roared louder. The structure shook under the pressure, and in the middle of it all, a human stood against something far beyond him. Not because he was stronger, not because he understood, but because he had made a choice, and now he was ready to fight. The explosion of energy still echoed inside the broken structure. Smoke and frozen dust filled the air, making it hard to see. The man stood in front of the child, his chest rising and falling heavily. His hand still glowed with blue light. Not as strong as before, but still alive. Across from him, the machine had stopped moving. For a moment, everything was still. Then the red lights on the machine flickered again. It was not destroyed. It was learning. The man's eyes narrowed. "Yeah," he said quietly. "You're not giving up that easy." A second machine appeared behind the first one, then a third. Shape moved in the storm outside. More were coming. The man took a slow step back, placing himself closer to the child. He could not fight all of them. Not like this, not for long. He glanced over his shoulder. The girl lay on the cold ground, her body glowing brighter now. The blue light pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. She still looked weak, still looked like a child who needed help. But he knew better now. She was something more, something important, something worth hunting across worlds. The man looked down at his own hand. The glow was still there. Faint, unstable, like it did not fully belong to him. He clenched his fist. "Not enough," he muttered. The machines moved again, this time faster. No waiting, no scanning, just attack. The first one rushed forward, its arm shifting into a sharp weapon. The man reacted instantly. He stepped to the side, grabbing a piece of broken metal from the ground. The machine struck fast and precise, but the man blocked it with the metal, the impact sending a shock through his arm. Pain shot up his shoulder, but he did not fall. He pushed back, swinging the metal hard against the machine. It hit with a loud crack, but the machine barely moved. Too strong, too solid. The second machine joined the attack. Now it was 2 against 1. The man moved quickly, dodging one strike, then another. His breathing grew heavier, his body slower. He could feel it. He was losing this fight. Behind him, the child's glow pulsed again, stronger, faster, almost like she could feel what was happening. The man took another hit. This time, it caught his side, throwing him back against the wall. He fell hard to the ground. Air knocked out of his lungs. For a moment, he could not move. The machine stepped closer. Slow, certain, they knew it was over. The man looked up at them, his vision slightly blurred, his body in pain, his strength almost gone. Then he heard it, a soft sound behind him, the child. Her small voice, weak but real. He turned his head slightly. She was awake, her glowing blue eyes looking directly at him. Not afraid, not crying, just watching. Her small hand lifted slowly, reaching toward him. The man stared at her. Something inside him shifted, a memory, a feeling he had buried long ago. Loss, failure, people he could not save, a past he could not change. Had walked away before. He had chosen survival over everything else. But not this time, not again. The machines were only a few steps away now, raising their weapons, ready to finish it. The man pushed himself up slowly, pain burning through his body. His legs shaking, but he stood. He turned fully toward them. His eyes no longer tired, no longer unsure. Now they were clear, focused, determined. He stepped forward, placing himself between the machines and the child. His hand began to glow again, stronger than before, brighter, the same blue light. But now it felt different. It felt like his. "I'm not leaving her," he said quietly. The machines paused for a second. As if reacting to the change, the energy around him grew. The air itself felt heavier. The child's glow matched his now. Both lights moving together, connected. The man took another step forward, his voice low, steady. "You want her." Another step then. "You go through me." The machines attacked at the same time, fast, deadly. But the man did not move back. He moved forward, his glowing hand striking out, meeting their attack head-on. The energy exploded around him. Blue light filled the entire structure. The walls shook. The ground cracked under the force. For a moment, everything disappeared in light. And in that moment, the man was no longer just surviving. He was fighting for something. Something more than himself. Something worth the pain. Something worth the risk. Behind him, the child, small. Hands slowly lowered, her eyes still glowing, watching him, trusting him. And for the first time in a long time, the man was not alone. The blue light exploded across the broken structure. Energy pushed outward like a storm, shaking the walls and throwing snow into the air. For a moment, nothing could be seen. Then the light faded slowly. The man was still standing, barely. His body was shaking, his breathing heavy and uneven. Pain moved through him with every breath. But he did not fall. In front of him, one of the machines lay broken on the ground, its red lights flickering weakly before going dark. The second machine stood a few steps away, its body damaged, but still active. Its red lights now brighter, more focused. It had learned again. The man wiped blood from his mouth with the back of his hand, his eyes locked on the machine. "Still going," he said quietly behind him. The child's glow was stronger than ever. The blue light now filled the entire space, soft but powerful. The man could feel it clearly now. It was not just energy, it was strength. And somehow it was reaching him. The machine moved suddenly. Faster than before, it rushed forward with sharp precision. The man reacted, but slower this time. His body was tired. Too many hits, too much damage. The machine struck. Its attack hit his shoulder, spinning him around and throwing him to the ground. He hit the cold floor hard. Pain exploded through his body. For a second, everything went silent. The machine stepped closer, slow, certain, its weapon forming again. This time, it would not stop. The man tried to move, but his arms felt heavy. His vision blurred. His strength was fading fast. "This is it," he whispered under his breath. But then warmth. A strange warmth spread through his body. Soft at first, then stronger. The man's eyes widened slightly. He turned his head. The child was sitting up now, her small body glowing with bright blue light. Her eyes open, focused on him, her hand stretched toward him again. The light around her moved like waves, and then it reached him. The energy flowed into him, through the air, through his body. The man gasped as the feeling grew. It was not painful. It was powerful. His breathing became steady. His vision cleared. The pain did not disappear, but it became distant, like it no longer controlled him. The machine paused for a second, analyzing, confused. The man slowly pushed himself up, his movements stronger now, more stable. Blue light surrounded him again, but this time it was brighter, more controlled, more alive. He looked at his hands. The energy moved with him, not wild, not unstable. It was his now. The machine attacked again. Fast, precise. But the man was ready. He stepped forward, not back. His body moved with speed he did not have before. He avoided the strike easily, then turned, his glowing hand cutting through the air. The energy hit the machine directly, a powerful blast, stronger than before. The machine was thrown back hard, its body crashing into the metal wall. The entire structure shook again. The man did not stop. He moved forward again, closing the distance quickly. The machine tried to stand, its systems failing, its movements slower now. But it still tried to fight. It raised its weapon one last time. The man looked at it calmly. "No more," he said quietly. He raised his hand. The blue energy gathered, brighter than ever. Then he released it. A final blast. Direct, strong, unstoppable. The machine froze for a second. Then its red lights flickered and went dark. Silence filled the structure. Only the sound of the wind outside remained. The man stood still, his chest rising slowly. The blue light around him began to fade, his strength returning to normal. But something had changed. Something inside him was different now. He turned slowly, looking back at the child. She was still sitting there, her small body glowing softly now, not as bright as before, her energy calming down. She looked at him, her expression quiet, but there was something new in her eyes. Trust. The man walked back to her slowly, each step careful. He knelt down in front of her. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then he spoke. "You saved me," he said quietly. The girl tilted her head slightly, as if she understood, even without words. The man gave a small, tired smile. "Guess we're even now," he added. Outside, the storm began to change. The wind was still strong, but something else could be heard now, a distant sound, different from before. Not the hunters, something else. The man's expression became serious again. He looked toward the entrance, listening carefully. "We're not done yet," he said under his breath. He looked back at the child, then carefully picked her up again, holding her close this time, not just to protect her, but because he knew they needed each other now, more than ever. And somewhere beyond the storm, something new was coming. The storm was beginning to calm. The wind was still cold, but no longer wild. Snow fell slowly now, soft and quiet. The man stepped out of the broken structure, the child held safely in his arms, both of them covered in frost and light. The world around them felt different, not safe, but still. The man looked across the frozen land. The machines were gone, broken pieces buried under snow. For now, the hunt had stopped, but he knew it would not be forever. "They'll come back," he said quietly. The child looked up at him, her eyes no longer weak, still glowing, but softer now. Calmer, stronger. She was not the same as before, and neither was he. A low sound moved through the sky. The man's head lifted instantly, his body tensed again. "Another one," he whispered. But this sound was different. Not deep and heavy like the hunters. This was smoother, controlled, almost alive. Through the clouds above, a shape appeared. A ship, large, silent, descending slowly from the sky. The man stepped back slightly, his grip on the child tightening. "Friend or enemy?" he muttered. The ship moved closer, its surface shining with soft light. Not dark like the machines, not cold. Something else. Something older. The child suddenly moved in his arms, her small hand lifted toward the sky, her eyes glowing brighter, reacting. The man noticed immediately. "You know them," he said quietly. The ship stopped above the ground, hovering silently. Then a beam of light appeared beneath it, soft and blue, the same color as the child's glow. The man hesitated. His eyes moved from the ship to the child, then back again. This could be a trap, another trick, another danger. He had survived too much to trust easily. But the child looked at him again, her expression calm, certain. She was not afraid. The man let out a slow breath. "All right," he said. "Your move." He stepped forward into the light. The world around him faded instantly. The cold disappeared. The wind stopped. Everything became quiet. For a moment, there was nothing. Then light returned. The man found himself inside the ship. The air was warm. Soft light filled the space. Strange shapes and smooth walls surrounded him, technology far beyond anything he had seen. Figures appeared in front of him, tall, calm, not machines, not like the hunters. These were alive. Their forms were similar to the child, but older, stronger, more controlled. They stepped closer slowly, no weapons, no aggression, only quiet observation. The man stood still, watching them carefully. One of the figures moved forward, its glowing eyes focused on the child. Then it spoke, not with sound, but directly into his mind. Soft, clear voice, "You protected her." The man frowned slightly, not surprised anymore. "Yeah," he said quietly. "Someone had to." The figure paused, then another feeling reached him. Something like respect. "She is important." The man looked down at the child. "She almost died," he replied. The figure nodded slowly. "And you did not leave her." The man did not answer, because he knew the truth. He almost had, but he didn't, and that was what mattered now. The child slowly reached out toward the figure, her small hand glowing softly. The figure stepped closer, then gently touched her hand. The light between them grew brighter. For a moment, the entire room filled with blue light. Warm, peaceful, alive. The man watched quietly. Something inside him relaxed for the first time. The fight was over, at least for now. The light slowly faded. The child looked back at him, her eyes soft, different from before. She was stronger now, safer. The figure spoke again. "She will live." The man nodded slowly. "Good," he said. A short silence followed. Then the figure looked at him again. "You are not like others." The man gave a small, tired smile. "Yeah," he said. "I've been told that before." The figure studied him for a moment, then one final message came. "You are now part of her story." The man looked down at the child, then back at the figure. He did not fully understand what that meant, but he felt something real. The child reached for him again, holding onto his coat, not wanting to let go. The man placed his hand gently on her head. "You're safe now," he said quietly, outside the ship. The frozen world stretched endlessly, cold, silent, but no longer empty. Far below, buried under snow, the digital scale still rested where he had left it. Its screen flickering one last time. 47.0. Such a small number, such a small weight. But it was never just about weight. It was about what he chose to carry. A life, a future, a hope. And sometimes, that was heavier than anything else in the universe. The man looked out at the stars as the ship began to rise, the child safe in his arms. And for the first time, he was not just surviving anymore. He was part of something greater,